Go ahead and get started. Today we're going to talk, or tonight we're going to talk about instant change treatments. And so this is actually a favorite of, there's a lot of shows that I've done regarding instant change treatments, specifically with Rachel Ray. It's kind of a favorite of her and her producers. But what these are basically are ways for you to instantly and almost immediately improve various maybe beauty or age-related issues and see results literally right away before your eyes. So that's what we're going to tackle today, kind of a fun subject, and believe it or not, these things actually work. So if you want to see an instant change, here we go. We're going to go through them. Now there are good things and there are bad things about these instant change products. And let's start off with the good stuff. Well, the good things about instant change products is that you will get a visible change in minutes. So the products I'm going to reveal to you today have been shown to actually work. They're not results that you can barely see, but these will actually work for you. So you will see a visible change in minutes. These treatments are typically affordable. They usually don't cost more than about $70 to $100, which can be a lot for some people, but are nothing compared to some of the really expensive creams that you can buy at department stores and you can buy in spas. So they're usually a bit more affordable, and typically most of these you can buy online as well. These types of instant change treatments are usually best for an event. So if you've got a date, if you've got a class reunion, if you've got a family reunion or a party that you want to go to, if you're going to see somebody that you haven't seen in a long time and they don't really know how you look, and even best, if you're not going to see them again for a long time, these can be very, very nice products to use, because by the time they wear off, they'll be none the wiser that you actually don't look quite like that. Well, there are some bad things about instant change products too. So once again, they're not perfect, and that's why not everybody uses them. But let's go through that, because some of these bad things aren't terrible. Well, the first thing is that these instant change products typically don't have a permanent effect. So just because you apply a serum under your eyes and the puffiness goes away, unfortunately, it's not going to stay that way forever. So these products, they work. You do get that temporary immediate change, but they do eventually wear off. And that's why it's important to combine these types of products with the real anti-aging products as well. So once again, these products may create an instant impressive change initially, but long term you do want to combine them with those products that I mentioned to you a couple weeks ago in my 2-minute 5 years off skincare routine. You combine it with those types of things for an optimal kind of an immediate result and a long-term change. These products can also have side effects to them. Okay, typically they're not severe side effects, but I'll mention this in just a little bit. So you want to know that they're not always perfect. And you got to consider, what are you going to do when it wears off? Okay, so some of these products will wear off in as little as a couple of hours. So if you don't want to, if you have a long event and you don't want to see it wear off halfway during the event, you may want to bring it with you to reapply, let's say in the bathroom or when you have some privacy. Keep that in mind, that when they do wear off, you want to keep that in mind, that you may want to reapply. The other thing too is, let's say you wear one of these products before a date. Well, that person's going to expect that that's how you look. So if there's a second date, keep in mind that you may want to reapply it for that second date. And at some point, this person's going to see you without this instant change product. All right, so before we get into Cellulite, would totally encourage you, if you're watching today live, comment, share that you've commented. If you have any questions, leave those questions for me. I will try to, if we get time at the end, to answer those at the end of the show. All right, so cellulite. Well, we all hate our cellulite. About 90% of women have cellulite. Women who are really thin can have cellulite. Women who are heavier can have cellulite. This is that situation where, unfortunately, well, fortunately for men, the majority of men don't have cellulite, and it's just the way that our fat and the septae between our fat cells and our fat below the skin is how the anatomy works. But for most women who suffer from cellulite, this is a very interesting treatment. It's called the Adonea Leg Tone Serum. Okay, now there's no permanent cure for cellulite, but this promises a 47% reduction of cellulite after just 9 minutes of application. And it's just a cream. It comes in a tube. You apply it to the thighs or to the buttocks, and literally after 9 minutes, their studies show a 47% reduction of cellulite. It does cost about $79 per tube. Each tube is pretty big. It's 6-ounce tube, so it's a good size. Can last you upwards of a couple months depending on how often you use it. And if you're interested in trying it, go to adonialegtone.com, adonialegtone.com to try it. Now, I initially was sent this to try by the manufacturer, and I actually had my employees try it. You know, I mean, I could put it on my thighs and it wouldn't show a whole lot, but my employees tried it and they really liked it. And honestly, I was a bit skeptical, but they've liked it, and so we've actually carried this in my office. And for those patients of ours who undergo cellulite treatments in the office, we have them use this afterwards as well. So if it's freezing cold right now, we're in the winter time here, and if you're going to head down south or to the islands, maybe something that you may want to try because, you know, not super expensive and a way to kind of smooth those thighs and the buttocks and improve that cellulite for a nice trip. But it's a big tube, so make sure you put it in your checked-in bags. All right, well, what about under-eye puffiness? Under-eye puffiness is one of the most common complaints that I get from people as they get older. They complain about puffiness and bags under their eyes. There are a lot of instant depuffers out there, and I'm not going to promote any specific one tonight, but these typically have instant results within about 3 to 5 minutes. They cost anywhere from $19 to $79 or so per tube. But they do work. You know, what happens is you apply it to your skin under your eyes, and the best way to describe this is kind of like the feeling you get if you put Elmer's glue on your skin and you let that glue dry. The glue will kind of tighten up into a film, and it makes the skin feel tighter where the glue is dried on. Well, these work in a very similar fashion. You apply it as a liquid under the eyes, and gradually over the span of a couple of minutes, when that dries, it leaves a tiny little film that will tighten up the skin. It works well, but the drawback is that filmy covering. Okay, some of these products leave more of a film than others. Some of these products of film can be more visible, and sometimes it's difficult as well to apply makeup over it if that film is quite smooth. So if you have an event and the puffiness under your eyes really bothers you, I encourage you, a few days before the event, try one of these products because they do work. It's just that, once again, you don't get that permanent change, and you got to keep in mind that makeup may not apply quite the same over it. So instant change, lower eyelid products do work. Well, what about fine lines and dullness? Okay, this is a very interesting product called the Relaxin Lift, and they have a new version called the Relaxin Lift Gold. And this is a very different type of product from those instant change lower eyelid products that I mentioned. This can help to improve the fine lines of the face, can help improve the dullness of the face, and give you more of a smoother, more of a refined texture to your skin. And it works very differently in that what you do is you take the packet that it comes with. I'm just going to read the directions here for you. You squeeze it vigorously for about 20 seconds. You rinse your skin off and you gently pat it dry, and then you take the product and you apply it to your skin, and it dries into basically a white powder. After 10 minutes of drying, you then rinse the white powder off with some warm water, and then after that you can apply your moisturizer and your makeup on afterwards. Now this works immediately after that 10 minutes because it leaves kind of this like lattice work of tiny silica particles that will help to smooth the skin and give you a much nicer tone, texture, and surface to the skin. It's about $10 per application, so it's not super cheap. You know, unless you are really well off, it may not be something that you'd want to use every single day, but definitely something that you could consider if you've got a good event that you want to go to. Once again, class reunion, a wedding, a party, that type of thing. This is a classic one called Relaxin Lift. They have a newer one called Relaxin Lift Gold, and if you've ever been to those kind of high-end spas, salons, they're now doing gold facials, kind of a similar idea here with the gold. These are available on the website. All you want to do is Google Relaxin. So all you have to do is you go online. You can find that. I'll also include a link to that on this Facebook Live page as well as on the YouTube page as well. What about thin lips? Okay, as we get older, our lips do get thinner. We do a lot of treatments for thin lips in my office. We quite often will inject Restylane into the lips to help plump the lips up, lasts about 6 to 12 months, depending on how quickly your body metabolizes it. But it is an invasive procedure. We do use needles and it can be somewhat painful. So here is a nice simple way to do it on your own and to do this without spending a lot of money. All you do is you get some peppermint oil from your local health food store. Whole Foods has got a good amount of these and you can pick that up. It's not too expensive. And you just get your normal lip gloss. And what you do is you take the top off of your lip gloss and then start with 1 to 2 drops of the peppermint oil, put it into the lip gloss, put the top back on, and then mix it together. You take the top back off and you apply that gloss onto your lips. Now that peppermint oil will create a mild irritation to your lips. It will create a tingling to your lips, and that tingling will combine with the moisturizing effects of your lip gloss to get your lips plumper and bigger. It typically will last several hours, and I encourage you, this is something where you don't want to start with 4 drops in your gloss right away, because if you've got sensitive lips, that may not be so comfortable and you may have ruined your lip gloss. So start with 1 to 2 drops and then titrate it, meaning add 1 drop at a time until you feel it's comfortable and you get kind of a nice, mild, comfortable tingling sensation that will get your lips bigger. This is something too to bring with you if you're going for a kind of a long event, because you can reapply it later on in the evening and keep those lips nice and plump. Now you're not going to take your lips from being super thin lips to Kylie Jenner lips or Angelina Jolie lips, but you can get a nice enhancement, and it's super easy and simple. Well, this is one of my favorite little tricks. If you have a torn or a stretched earlobe, a lot of people as they get older, the earlobes get stretched, they get torn. We repair them surgically in my office. But if you don't have time for that, or you don't want to undergo that procedure, check out Lobe Wonder. Okay, this is basically a adhesive support patch that you put behind the earlobe, and it acts basically as a support for the earlobe. So you can take then an earring, put it through a stretched or even a torn earlobe, and you can actually adhere it to the Lobe Wonder. And even if you have a completely torn lobe, this can often work actually for you to allow you to still wear earrings. If you've got a lobe that has been stretched out and you worry about it stretching more, it's a perfect idea as well with this to support that earlobe to prevent further stretching. It's not that expensive. It's about $7 for a pack of 60. You can buy this online. I will leave a link on the Facebook page after this broadcast as well. So very simple, nice little product. I've had a number of people tell me that it really works well for them.